Madam President, I do not believe that this president or any president has the ability, without congressional approval, to initiate military action in Iraq or anywhere else, except in the case of an emergency posing an imminent threat to the U.S. or its citizens. And I also assert that the current crisis in Iraq, while serious and posing the possibility of a long-term threat to the United States, is not the kind of conflict where the president can or should act unilaterally. If the United States is to contemplate military action in Iraq, the president must seek congressional authorization. Let me point out that the White House has been in significant consultation with congressional leadership and members in the past weeks, and that consultation is important and it's appreciated. But it's not the same thing as seeking congressional authority. It would be the height of public immorality to order service members to risk their lives when the nation's political leadership has not done the work to reach a consensus about the value of a mission. Now, both the Bush and Obama administrations have broadly interpreted that AUMF to allow attacks against al-Qaeda or associated forces. But ISIL is not al-Qaeda. It would be a wholly unprecedented stretch to suggest that the 2001 AUMF now would justify military action against ISIL in Iraq. And finally, Madam President, there is not yet an imminent threat to the United States that would allow the president to take unilateral military action against ISIL. The administration rightly points out that the growth of ISIL could prove a threat to the U.S. in the medium or long term, but they pose no imminent threat to the United States today. Now, we know seeking congressional approval for military action is very challenging, and it's contentious, and it's supposed to be. While this often frustrates the executive, it's how the system is supposed to work. The entire declared chemical weapons stockpile of Syria has been destroyed, and work is underway to determine whether there's undeclared elements of the stockpile that still must be destroyed. The fact of the destruction of this chemical weapons stockpile, one of the largest in the world, happened because the president followed the rules, came to the Senate, we acted to support military force, and then that led to this important breakthrough. That teaches me and tells me, let's just learn from that. The president should come to Congress if military action is contemplated in Iraq, and he has an excellent opportunity before him to initiate that discussion right now. Despite its facial language only allowing military action against those complicit in the 9/11 attacks, it has been broadly interpreted to authorize a global war against al-Qaeda or associated forces so long as they pose a threat to the United States or any of its dozens of, quote, coalition partners. That AUMF 13 years later has no geographic limitation. It has no expiration date. Members of the administration have testified in Senate hearings that they expect that the war declared in that AUMF may go on for the next 25 or 30 years.